Hello and welcome back everybody, it's Karen. I am playing today with Paper Rose's Heartwood House collection. Now I've got 3 cards for you. I'm actually going to start with the first, which is a Valentine's Day card, but the other 2 are not Valentine's Day. So even though this is a Valentine's collection, I think it could be used for a lot more. So this is the first card I'm going to make with you today. It's got the heart shape on it. Originally I wanted it to be the entire card heart shaped, but when I tried that, it just would not stand up. Even if I cut the bottom of the tip of the heart off, it wouldn't stand. So this is what I came up with instead. So I started with the 5.5-inch square card base, and I'm using the nesting hearts, and I've taken the largest of those hearts and I'm going to cut from the right side of my card base. So I'm just lining this up in the bottom right hand corner, and I'm going to tack that in place there. And I'm doing this right on the card base itself. Now I've got my top cover plate only covering the right hand half of that heart. And I like to tack my cover plate in place just because things happen here. So I feel a little safer with that tacked down. And I cut through it, and for the most part it came through. But at the bottom, I'm just going to use my scissors to cut off the little bit that didn't quite get through, cut through, and just make sure the rest is okay. Now I've put it in my trimmer, and I've got the point of that heart lined up with the cutting track on my trimmer, and I'm just going to cut straight down to the top of that heart, or where I think it is, without going past that. And so then I just use my scissors to cut the extra little tag off. And that gave me a heart-shaped card base, sort of, or half a heart-shaped card base. Now it kind of looks like mittens to me when you open it. Maybe because it's winter here, but yeah, that's what it looks like to me. Now I have to cut this right-hand corner out, and I had to cut through the bunnies. So I've got this embossed die cut from the embossed die cut collection, and I'm going to reposition those bunnies back in, but I have to cut this right hand corner, so I'm going to put my die in place and cut that out. And I had to cut through the bunnies. But now I've also cut a white heart to go behind this one. I wanted to really emphasize the heart shape. Maybe to get rid of the mitten look, I don't know. But that's why I've got this extra white heart there, just so I could really emphasize that was a heart. And I love these, the banner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this piece of cardstock up with the left-hand side of my card. And then I will pencil in on the back because I couldn't quite see where the heart ended there. So I'm just penciling where I need to cut this. And I'm going to put this in my trimmer and trim right along that line, and then I will also take the bottom half off because mine's a 5.5-inch card and that was a 6x6 paper. So I just took the bottom off, and then I've got this weird shaped piece of cardstock, but it will all be covered by the hearts. So I'm just going to glue this in place. And then I started by gluing the white heart down, and I'm putting it right over the other heart. And then I will glue the pattern paper in place. And I ended up going a little bit sideways with this, but it's okay in the end. Now this love you sentiment, I have stacked 3 times, but because I have 2 cardstock hearts in behind it, I wanted to add a bit more to the left-hand side. So I've put it in place, and I'm tracing where the shape of that heart will go. And I'm just going to trim it off there where my pencil mark is. And then that piece I'm going to stack in, it'll butt right up against the heart, as you can see there. So I'm just going to glue that to the back of my stacked sentiment. So now it's 4 layers on the left, and that will help not have it bend when I attach all of this down now. And so when I go to put this down in place, it will actually butt up into the heart edge on the left there. So I'm sort of sliding it a little bit to the right, just until I can feel it butting up into the heart, and I know it's in place then. Now the bunnies I've put up on some foam tape, and I'm going to try and cover as much of those other ones as I can. And there is a little bit that shows through on this one, so I'm just putting a heart in behind it. I think on my original card I used the bunnies from the Quick Cards collection perhaps, that were slightly bigger, and I didn't have a problem with them showing through, but this one may have been from the embossed die cuts. Now I took my shimmer pen and I'm going over all the hearts up on the banner and a couple of them on the cart. And once that dried, I added some glossy accents to it just to have a bit of dimension and shimmer on this one. So this is the finished card that I did first, and you can see that that shine from the glossy accents. It coordinates with the embossed die cuts really nicely, and there's a bit of shimmer from the shimmer pen. On the inside, I added that little heart of flowers. I may end up adding something to the other side so it doesn't look like a mitten. I haven't quite decided yet. Okay, this is my second card. Now, I love this piece of cardstock as well, and this is also from the Heartwood House collection, but I thought it could be so many things. It could be a new home, it could be an engagement card, it could be, you know, expecting a baby card. So I wanted to keep it fairly blank, really, so I could use it for whatever occasion I needed. But I'm using the Nesting Curved Rectangles dies for this one, and I've cut it from one of the Heartwood House Basics paper with the largest of those rectangle dies. And then this is the Blooming Blossoms Shimmer cardstock, and it just coordinated so well with those colors. So I'm using that on the inside as a, you know, a bit of a lining layer. So I'm gluing these together first so I can decide where I want this to go now. So I'm sort of moving this up and down and left and right, trying to pick out the part of that card I wanted the most. And once I found it, I marked with the pencil, and then I'm trimming that piece of cardstock down. And now I've got some glue on this top layer, and I'm going to line up the top edges as best I can and just glue that down in place. And then I'll add some glue to the back of all of that and put it onto my 5.5-inch square card. And then I've just got a fairly neutral sentiment, just celebrate, so excited for you. So that could be for a baby, it could be for the home, it could be an engagement. I wasn't sure, but I wanted to keep it fairly open for anything. So for my third card, I'm using the Heart Circle cover plate die. It's just a really pretty die. I've put some double-sided adhesive on a piece of cardstock, and I'm tacking that die in place, and I will die cut that out so that now the whole back is covered with an adhesive. Now, I happened to figure this out as I was packing up Christmas presents. I had some mica and glitter on my desk, and I couldn't find my lint roller, so I used a piece of packing tape and picked it up, and it just was so pretty, and I thought I would use this to go in behind that cover plate die. So as you can see, I'm using a piece of packing tape, and all I'm going to do is pick up that glitter and the mica powder. It even though that mica powder is all clumped up, it only really picks up that one layer, so it just sort of spreads everything around, and I'm just going all over this with my packing tape to pick it up, and so it's completely filled in behind. Now, once I had that, I flipped it over, so that would be the sticky side facing up, and I'm just putting a second piece of packing tape over that just to keep any mica powder in place, so that when I go to put this on my card, I don't get any mica powder rubbing off. And then I lined up my 3 strips together, and I'm putting some more packing tape on the top and the bottom of this just to hold those sections together. And then I trimmed off that extra packing tape on the sides. And then all I did is I took the release paper off my cover plate, and I'm going to glue that or attach it right onto that packing tape. And then you want to really press that down and burnish it a bit. So I've trimmed off the edges and really burnished it with my bone folder. And that will go on the front of my card. Now it's not quite even, the colors you can kind of see through, but in the end I don't think it matters that much. So I've put glue all over that. My glue does dry clear, but you don't really notice it through all those layers of the cover plate die. I'm just cutting a little opening now in that teacups just so I can stick these little hearts in place. I'm going to put a little bit of glue in behind them. And I just wanted to stack the hearts up to make it look like steam coming out, heart-shaped steam coming out. The sentiment is from the black and white card making sentiment sheets, and then that little house is one of the Heartwood House embossed die cuts, and I'm gluing those directly on. So the house and the sentiment are glued directly on, and I added foam tape in behind this little teacup. And I thought that was kind of a fun thinking of you or missing you kind of a card without being a Valentine's Day card. So I hope that's given you some ideas, everyone. That's 3 different cards from that one collection, which really is a Valentine's Day collection, but I think it could be used for a lot more. Thanks for stopping by. I hope everybody's having a great day, and I will talk to you again next time. Bye.